Buongiorno a tutte e benvenute to another episode of Membership Interviews. Sons and Daughters of Italy, John Pirelli Lodge. We've got a really special guest tonight, my very good friend Mark Warner. Mark, thank you for being here. Really excited to talk to you. You've brought so much stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. And Mark, let's go ahead and just jump right in.
Sure.
Something that I asked you earlier about your name and the story behind that. Mark Warner is what we call you at the lodge.
Right.
But tell us how that name came to be.
Well, the family's name is actually Guinetti. So my father came from a village, Fieto, in the Foggia province, and that village is one of the only villages in the whole country. Well, I should take it back. In the whole lower half of the country, there's only 3 places that speak the hybrid version of Italian and French dialect that my grandfather's village spoke, and the other 2 are right along the Alps towards France. So when my grandmother brought my grandfather and my uncle to this country, they didn't really speak Italian. They spoke this hybrid dialect. And so when they came through Ellis Island and they asked her if she wanted to change her name to be more American, she understood it to be that, do you want to change your name to be an American? And so she jumped all over that and said she was just going to shorten it to Gwarner. And so again, through the dialect and the loss in translation, the guy wrote it down as Warner instead of Gwarner. And so that's the story. And supposedly my grandfather was pretty upset when found out he still had to go through naturalization and he got stuck with a German name. So there you go.
Well, you know what? We're glad that he and the family made the trip because we wouldn't have you. And so that's, I think, absolutely a fascinating story. Not uncommon for lots of our friends. And
well, I love my great-grandfather's name. You can almost sing it, Giovanni Guinetti.
Guinetti, bella nome. Yeah.
So, and my grandfather's was Pasquale, or Patrick. So, and that's my middle name. So, I should be Marcucci Pasquale Guinetti.
Okay, well, maybe I'll share that during some bocce league this summer.
And just yell it across the court.
That's right. Man, awesome. What a great way to start. So, all right, so we know your name, and how long have you been a member at John Pirelli? And kind of tell us what brought you to the club, to the lodge.
Well, I've been lucky enough to be a member since 2012. My dentist, Mark Di Benedetto, is the one who introduced me to the lodge and sponsored my membership. And also had me be part of his bocce team, along with some other good friends. That's what drew me. And then my family has been involved in Italian Lodge back in my hometown of Canton. My grandfather and one of his goombas used to run the bocce tournament there during their festa and stuff. So. Yeah, and so a lot of history of my family of being involved in a lodge, but once I got involved in the lodge, I couldn't wait to keep going. So
well, we're happy to have you. It's our treat. Do you get back to Canton?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most of, if not all of my family is still there, and all of the really good food that I used to enjoy throughout my childhood is still there. So.
Well, and I want to talk about that, and I know you've brought some things for us, which thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about how Grandpa showed up, your Nono showed up at Ellis Island. He gets this name changed. He's got a German name. He can't stand it. How did they go from there to Canton?
Cousins lived in the Canton area, and it was actually cousins from the same village.
Beautiful.
So The only time my grandfather used to speak Italian is when he would go to visit our cousins who lived in another small town just outside of Canton. And then they would speak, and since my cousin was from the same village, he's the only one that could understand my grandfather and vice versa. So that's the only time I heard my grandfather speak Italian,
They
or
needed each other
whatever
almost.
version of it was when him and his cousin were together.
Well, dialects are the story of Italy. Man, that's incredible. All right, so so grandfather goes to Canton. He's got cousins there. That's where you grew up. What's it like? I think as a child, I think I drove through Canton once, but is there an Italian community there? Is it strong? What are some of the traditions from your hometown?
There is a huge and very strong Italian community there, good and bad. Canton used to be called Little Chicago because of all the mafioso that used to have their hand in things and stuff. So, but it's a very strong Italian Catholic community, and that's the kind of neighborhood that I was blessed to be raised in.
Beautiful.
In my neighborhood where I was raised, I had an uncle that was just 2 doors up the street. I had another uncle an aunt that lived on the next block over. I had cousins that lived 2 blocks up, and I had another aunt and uncle that lived 2 blocks up as well. So I had an abundance of cousins and uncles and aunts and stuff within a very short walking distance. So
That's a special way to grow up. You had family everywhere, so you couldn't get away with anything.
oh no, no.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so you mentioned food. So all of us have such a wonderful early memory, childhood of something that grandma made or an aunt made or that mom made. What are some of those early food memories that you have that are really special?
Well, there's actually several. In particular, Christmas Eve dinner was quite the event at our house. We had a very small house, but we used to clear out all the basement and set up as many tables and chairs as we could possibly get in there. Everybody was cramped together. You could hardly, bring the fork to your mouth without smacking somebody. But it was quite the fellowship and stuff. And so as a kid, one of the things I remember is, you have to fast on New Year's Eve. So my mother used to make a sauce that was flavored with squid, calamari. And so as kids, we were all there while everybody was cooking because we loved to grab stuff off the table. And whenever she would go down the basement, of course, to stir the sauce, we'd all run there to watch her stir the sauce and watch the squid legs pop out of the top of the sauce and make up spooky stories about it, and stuff. So that was a fond memory. But, it was just my grandfather used to come over and use vice grips to peel the skin off the eel and stuff, for the Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just it was a family event of not just one side of the family, but both sides of my family. So everybody got together. It didn't matter what the situation was, or it was a wonderful atmosphere to grow up in and have access to.
It sounds like it. I don't know the answer to this question. Do you have siblings?
I have 3 Italian sisters. So I had 4 mothers.
Which is like
as I
having
grew
10
up.
siblings.
Yes. I had 4 mothers as I grew up and didn't get away with anything and got blamed for a lot. So,
Okay, where were you in the birth order then?
I have an older sister and then 2 younger sisters.
Okay, so it really doesn't matter. If you're the oldest, the baby, it doesn't matter.
It's-
Somewhere
yeah.
in between.
I love it when people say, "Oh, you must have been so spoiled." I'm like, no, never, not even for a second.
Yeah, you couldn't get away with it. All right, so let's talk about a little bit more about food. You actually brought me something. I don't know if we'll be able to get a tight shot of this or not. This is sealed up because I'm going to get to take this home to my little Bambina, and she's going to absolutely love it. But these are chocolate pizzelles.
Yes.
Tell me about them.
So the recipe is actually the one that my mother perfected over her lifetime. So I have not changed hardly anything about the recipe other than she used to use imitation vanilla and I use real vanilla. I just started making, this is only like the third recipe of the chocolate. My cousins back in Canton owned a candy store called Heggy's Candies. So I came up with the idea of adding bulk chocolate to the recipe because I knew other people had been adding like cocoa powder and stuff like that. And it's okay, but it's not chocolatey. So at first I tried it with the milk chocolate. And it was good, but it wasn't that good. So then I went to the bulk dark chocolate, and I'm told that they're pretty primo.
Man, I love that because that's how so many great new food things have been created by Italian Americans in this country. They took an idea from the old country, right, and they put a little spin on it.
Yep.
And you've spun yours. And okay, I want to go back to Italy, and I want to go to.
Me too.
5 minutes. The driver will be here.
Yep.
I wanna hear your story about going back. And you told me something very interesting. I don't want to give it away, but you had a chance to go with one of your sisters,
Right.
His favorite sister. And yeah, could you share that a little bit?
Absolutely. So my first trip to Italy was in 2016. We were lucky enough to go with the tour with Eldora, one of our lodge members. And we did the 16-day Tuscany, Umbria, and Rome tour. And then we stayed 4 extra days. And during those 4 extra days, we went to 3 of our family's villages.
Wow.
So we went to my father's village, we went to my father's mother's village, and then we went to my mother's father's village, because that's the ones we could trace the history back to. I had gone to Ellis Island when I went to visit New York the year in 2015, and got access to their website and was able to actually find the ship's manifest where my grandmother's name and my uncle and my grandfather's name were listed on the manifest. Before that, we really didn't know how the village name was spelled or pronounced or anything, but we actually saw it written on the ship's manifest, and we were able to locate it on a map and a little help from Google. So so we went back to the village, and my sister, God love her, we got to the commune, the city hall, and got into the commune, and she just went from office to office yelling, Americano, Americano, anybody speak Americano, and stuff. And so finally, a villager yelled out that he spoke Italian, Peppino, and he said, "Oh, I'm excited. I get to practice my American and stuff." And so he took us over to the room where all the ledgers were, so we started digging through the ledgers, and my brother-in-law John actually did the math and guessed good, because he got the winning ledger. I think it was 1905.
Wow.
And halfway through the book, we found my grandfather's register. And the cool thing about it in Italy is it gives a family history of both sides of the family. So it actually had my grandmother's family's information, her parents and stuff. And then you have to bring 2 witnesses. And so we have the neighbors or whoever the witnesses are. We have their information as well. So, wealth of information on one sheet of paper. It was pretty amazing. But I did recognize my great grandfather's handwriting from some of the census cards that he had filled out from before, and saw the Giovanni Guinetti, and then underneath that Pasquale, my grandfather. So,
Oh, that's amazing. So you brought some pictures. Do we have a picture of Grandpa here?
we do a younger one. So this is a version of it. That's him in the middle, and that's his father, Giovanni Guinetti, and then that's his younger brother, my Uncle Jim.
Oh, wow.
And then that's my great-grandmother, Marie.
Okay, so this is your grandfather, your great-grandparents, and your uncle.
Yes.
Mark, you look like your great-grandfather.
Yeah, it's a forehead.
Another Italian blessing.
Yeah.
Good looking
Too
group.
many brains.
Good looking
But yeah, it's I don't remember my great grandfather, but I do remember my great grandmother. So
Wonderful.
she was around till I was like 4. I think my grandfather passed shortly after I was born. So
It's special. Man, that is so special, having those memories. And you brought some other memories. We've got some other pictures, and I want to give you a chance to touch on all of them.
sure. Well, my father was in the Army and served in Korea. So I wanted to make sure that you saw him with hair.
Good looking.
And then this is their wedding, and want to make sure everybody saw how much of a princess my mother was. She was a beautiful woman. So, unfortunately, I took over after my father, and my sisters took after my sisters. So, but we can touch on the. Well, this is my mother's father, who is actually here. He played. He was jack of all trades. This is a guy who. Let me spin it around. This is a guy who came to. He was born in the United States. The family had a tavern over in Pennsylvania. His father got into a gambling gig, and so Mama made everybody move back to Italy. And then his brother came back over here first, and then he followed his brother when he was 18. His brother came back when he was 18, and then he followed his brother when he turned 18. And so, so he was actually born in the States, lived most of his life in Italy, and then came back. So one of the things that he did was he played trumpet in a big band and stuff, but he also picked up his father's bad habits as well. So the thing I remember about my grandfather is he would finance his trips back to Italy by running parlay sheets at his factory and stuff.
That's innovative.
He talk about innovative. So he worked at E.W. Bliss, and they did a lot of defense work. And so you weren't allowed to go from department to department because everybody's working on other defense stuff, and there was, need to know kind of thing. So, but he had to pick up his parlay tickets. So he would tell me what he'd do is he'd grab a set of blueprints, tuck them underneath his arm, and then he'd start walking through the departments. And when one of the supervisors would stop him, and then he would say, "Hey, you might be the guy I'm looking for. Can you explain to me this measurement on this?" And he'd open up and then the guy he said, "I'm on my way over to talk to such and such over in this department, and maybe you can answer the question for me." And
clever.
so the guy would just say, "Okay, whatever, get going." And so that's how he was able to go around and pick up his tickets every week.
Awesome.
By
Very clever.
tucking some plans underneath his arm, and
Yeah. My aunt in Italy, I actually talked to her on Easter, called her. She always says this, the Italians are the most clever people in the world.
absolutely.
I think that's a great story.
Well, my grandfather story is that he developed a grinding technique to make propellers for ships more efficient during World War II and stuff. So, and the guy learned how to weld when he was in Italy, and he brought that skill back, and he had an ornamental wrought iron business, and I used to go and watch him fabricate stuff in his little shop, and then we would go out and install stuff and pour the liquid lead and the whole 9 yards. So
And this was all back in Canton.
yeah.
Oh man, the Buckeye State continues to shine. Oh, man, wonderful. All right, so maybe let's transition to our lodge a little bit. So
Sure.
You've been a member since 2012. Just what are some of your favorite things about the lodge?
Well, one of my first and still one of my fondest memories is going to one of my first meetings, rolling up. It was like August of 2012, rolling up to a membership meeting, getting out of the car, and just getting a waft of home.
Yeah.
It just smelled like sauce and pasta and stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm home.
I was kind of hoping you'd mention, when we talk about activities, something you graciously brought tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about what we're sipping on. Salute. Chin chin.
We are sipping on the Cabernet Sauvignon that the lodge members bring grapes in from California. And we hand crush them, and then we hand press them, and then we distribute them all out to, God, it must be like 40, 45 different carboys that people bring in.
I think so.
4 or 5 gallon carboys. So that's another great. I mean, everybody brings a covered dish. You know, we share a meal, we share laughs, and it's a physical activity. You know, so yeah, it's a win-win-win. So
It's a great source of pride for me when I get to say, we make this at the Italian Lodge, and people don't understand what that means, and then they try it and they want more. So it's actually great. Okay, so maybe let's take a time for a little reflection. I was kind of sharing with you, in my life, I'm kind of appreciating my heritage in our culture, maybe now more than ever. What does it mean to you? Being Italian American, what does that identity bring up in you personally?
it's my baseline for everything. It's what I fall back on, what I operate from. It's a sense of pride. It's a sense of purpose. And we should be also very grateful for the foundation that other people have laid. So,
Let's speak to it. Just your thoughts on what Italian Americans and Italians contributed to this country.
oh yeah, it just keeps growing. I mean, I'm from Canton. The Cleveland baseball team just got their name changed to a set of statues that Italians carved, and they brought people in from a specific village in order to carve those statues that are the gods of traffic, I guess is what they call them. But they're beautiful statues. I've seen them up close. And then our food. I'm sorry, it's the best in the world.
It's the best, baby.
I'm sorry. I mean, our food is just, what's not to like?
What's not to like?
What's not to like?
The world loves it.
And then to grow up with it. I mean, I can remember my mother making, we used to call it kuguts, zucchini.
Zucchini,
She used to get the big ones and cut them into slices and stuff, and then fry them up, and we eat them like potato chips all summer long. She made them all summer long. Stuff like that. I mean, how good can you? How much better can it get? And stuff. So,
well, I'd like to go to a session here where we hit some rapid fire things, because we did talk about food, which is one of my favorite subjects. So I'm just going to ask you a couple things, get your take on it, and just the first thing that pops into mind. Okay. Your favorite Italian food?
Oh, kind of a toss between. I wrote it down. It's got to be lasagna. So my mother's lasagna. There couldn't be enough layers.
How many layers?
Oh, at least 9.
Okay, 9
Yeah.
layers. What about favorite Italian drink? Could be coffee, could be vino, could be a fresca, could be anything, you know.
I tell you, it's definitely wine. But the last time I was in Italy, I had a Lambrusco spritzer that was, oh my God, it was delicious. I almost didn't make it back to the hotel.
Well, that sounds like it ain't half bad.
No, yeah.
Okay, how about this? An Italian favorite word or phrase?
Got 2 of them. Single word is Stugaz.
Stugaz, yeah. Yeah, I heard that a lot.
Yeah, my grandfather used to say, just Stugaz. And then my grandmother, she used to just throw her hands up and say Santa Pacienza.
Santa Pacienza, yeah,
So-
Patience of a Saint.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Beautiful.
So those are my 2 favorites.
Pretty good ones. Okay, if there was one Italian anywhere in history, it could be today, it could be somebody that you maybe knew growing up, it could be from long ago, but an Italian, famous historical family, whatever, that you could sit down and talk with, who would it be, and what would you talk about?
It would definitely be Cosimo Medici.
Medici.
Yeah,
bravo.
the father of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
When I read about what all he brought to Florence and stuff, not just to make it the center of the world, but the artistry and all the different artisans he had in residence is just mind blowing. Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Bartolo or something. Anyways, the list is long and distinguished, and for one man to be able to have fostered that is just over the top for me.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah, the lineage of his impact is just amazing.
The ingenuity of the Italian mind. Okay, Mark, man, our time has just flown by. This has been incredible. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to share, anything you want to comment on? It's just so special for me to be able to talk with you, but I want to make sure that you're getting your message out there.
Well, Italians love to kind of be a community, whether it's for a holiday or a birthday party or whatever. But my father's father, started a dry cleaning business that soon became the hub of the family. And I used to go down there every Saturday, and all the cousins and nephews and my favorite person in the world, my Uncle Jim, my grandfather's brother, would all come and hang out on Saturdays and stuff, and just be a community and stuff. So that's where one of these pictures talks. Yeah, my grandfather was very proud of that store. It was kind of unique, and the store was added on to the house that they had. So the boiler was down in the basement. And so you had to walk through the basement and to get up to the house and stuff. But I used to go down there every Saturday, and by 3 o'clock or so, when my grandmother got all the specials done and bagged for the day, that was her job, then we would go upstairs and we'd start making dinner. And then she would put a stack of records on the big console that was probably as big as this desk.
Yeah.
And we would dance in the living room in between making the meal and stuff. So
Man.
I used to love to play Tra-la-la Boomsier and try to send her across the room. So, but she tolerated it pretty well and just would giggle and laugh and stuff. So, yeah, that's an extremely beautiful memory I reflect on a lot.
Well, Mark, you're a beautiful person. Ti saluto. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you, my
Sean,
friend.
I appreciate you greatly.
Thank you.
Grazie.
So for Mark and myself, thank you so much for watching, and tune in next time for another episode.